Okay, so thanks to the people at Lionsgate, just back from a screening of The Iron Claw, right? Oh man, this was definitely an interesting one, right? It's written and directed by Sean Durkin, okay? The film is produced by Durkin along with Juliet Howell, Angus Lamont, Tessa Rose, and Darren Schuslinger. It's executive produced by Eva Yates, Harrison Huffman, Maxwell Friedman, Danny Cohen, and Len Blavanik. Richard Reed Parry handled the music. Matthias Erdely, cinematography. Matthew Hannam edits the piece. Susan Shopmaker was on casting duties. James Price, production design. Art direction is Sammy Walschliger. Tim Cohn is set decoration. Jennifer Starrick, costume design. Hair and makeup, we've got Crystal Woodford, Natalie Shea Rose, Courtney Lever, Ashley Kent, El Favarul, and Darla Edin. Okay, so the cast. Well, it's all centering around the Von Erichs, right? So Fitz Von Erich is played by Holt McCallany. Uh, we've then got where his wife Doris, played by Maura Tierney, and his sons. So at the very start, right, we see two young kids, Kevin and David. So young Kevin is played by Grady Wilson. Young David is played by Valentine Newcomer. Now, the older Kevin is played by Zac Efron. Older David is played by Harris Dickinson. Then the other brothers, right? So there's Mike, played by Stanley Simons, and Kerry. Right, so Kerry is played by Jeremy Allen White. Okay, we have got who else was Pam? Well, okay, I can get that here. Pam is played by Lily James, Pam Adkisson, right? She marries Kevin. We have got Jack Jr. is also a Von Erich, played by Romeo Newcomer. We have Marshall and Ross. Right, Marshall Atkinson is played by Sam Franich. Ross is played by Leo Franich. We have Ric Flair, played by Aaron Dean Eisenberger. There's Harley Race, played by Kevin Anton. We've got Michael Hayes, played by Brady Pierce. The other members of the Fabulous Freebirds, played by Michael Proctor, Silas Mason, and Dean Imbragulio. The referee from the Sportatorium, played by James Beard. The teller, played by Christina Kingston. Another Sportatorium referee, played by Brian Height. We have got the Olympic coach, played by Michael Papajon. Gino Hernandez, played by Ryan Nemeth. Bruiser Brody, played by Kazi Louise Segahino. Bill Mercer, played by Michael Harney. Yeah, that's Garrett Hammond is another Sportorium referee. Oh, the Sheik, played by Chavo Guerrero Jr., right? Scott Innes is the ring announcer. Man, it's crazy. All right, so the gist of the film, it's the true story of the inseparable Von Erich brothers who made history in the intensely competitive world of professional wrestling in the early 80s through tragedy and triumph. Under the shadow of their domineering father and coach, the brothers seek larger than life immortality on the biggest stage in sports. So, yeah, this was like, I knew the name Von Erich, you know what I mean? But I didn't know this whole story. I did not know this whole story, man. Like, because when I was watching, World Wrestling Federation as a kid, it was a Texas Tornado, right? Who's Kerry Von Erich. But I had no clue whatsoever what Kerry was dealing with. I just remember there was a point that you then found out he killed himself. You know what I mean? It was just like, wait, what? What happened? Because he was the Intercontinental Champion. I think he might have been a tag team champion at one point. But the Texas Tornado was a fun character. A lot of running. Which is then crazy to what you find out. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's all this other stuff that you just have no clue about. And it's fascinating. Right? We open up with we see a ring and we pull back, and it's just this empty auditorium. It's in black and white, right? And then we've got this rousing music, right? And then we see like some fight footage. And then we pull out even more and we're into this fight. So we see Fitz Von Erich in his day, right? And he wins the fight with the Iron Claw. Oh, shit. So then when he's finished, he goes out in, the wife's there with his two sons, these two little kids. And so we see all of this, and he's got a new car, right? And he's like, oh, to be the part, you've got to look like the part, right? Look like the part to become the bigger part, which is something you heard Ric Flair talk about on JRE, right? And you've heard a lot of the other, like, DDP and a lot of these other cats, Hogan, just all talk about this stuff. So it's just like, oh, shit. Damn, we're kind of seeing some of the stuff we've heard about, you know what I mean? So then from there, we transition to color, and Kevin and David are now older, right? They're now older. There's another couple of kids as well. So, there's 4 of these Von Erich kids, and they're like all working out and everything, apart from Michael, who really just wants to become a musician, doesn't want to wrestle, wants to be a musician. But we get to see everything that's happening, this whole kind of family story, and they talk about this Von Erich curse, which you just think is goofy, right? I mean, like, no, these curses aren't real. Curses, like, what are you doing? But when we see all the things that happen, you're like, oh, fuck, maybe curses are a thing, right? Because it's kind of unrelenting with some of the things that we see, you know? It's like, yo, oh my God, it's dark, gets dark. So that's all like rough and crazy. But man, this film, it really does a great job of tying you into the era, right? With the music used, the filters, all of this stuff, like the cost, you know, the clothes and everything like that. It just screams like 80s, early 90s, all of that stuff, man. It's great. And there's things that you remember be like, oh shit. Because you remember the US pulling out of the Moscow Olympics. But you forget what that then means to the athletes, right? I mean, you understand, oh man, they trained all these years and now they can't do their thing, right? Or that the money and just all of this, but you don't necessarily see the granular impact, right? What it actually has on the individual. Because Kerry was training to be the disc, right? Disc. I feel that's what it's called, right? The disc. But yeah, that's what his thing, right? And because of that, he couldn't compete. So you have just all of these things going down, and it's just, whew, right? But it's all fueled by Fitz because he wasn't the world champion, right? So he just always wanted that, always wanted more success than he ever had. And he was successful. So he's just pushing the kids to be this thing. And we see all of that. That is very evident, right? That's all done very well. You know, don't comfort them. We don't cry. We do this. Blah, blah, blah. At a funeral, I don't want to see you cry. And it's just like, wait, what? What kind of craziness is this? You know, and Doris doesn't really do anything to help. It's that era, right? Where, oh, the husband rules the house. You know, you have to listen. You know, it's all of that kind of stuff. So all of this is very clear. It's all very evident. And we see the pain, we see everything. There's certain things which I felt, I feel we could have done more with that, right? I mean, just how Kerry felt about not getting to the Olympics, you know, about his first big win. You know what I mean? Just yeah, that. It's not really made a big deal out of, you know? And then the whole WWF stuff, not really, you know, and you just think there must be something there. Must be something there. Even we do see a little bit of the whole CTE pain situation with Kerry. There's a flash scene, but yeah, a bit more, I think, would have really drummed home everything. I mean, I do feel we get it as a viewer, but I just thought it could have been a little bit more, you know? And just the same with some of the other incidents that are going down, even Kevin, right? Because we do see some stuff, right? You get it. But I just thought some of that stuff could have been really harder hitting, you know? I do feel it does hit you on an emotional note, especially there's a nice little bit at the end with Kevin and his kids, right? That was a real nice little scene. But you just think there was, like, it hits you on an emotional level for sure. But there is another, you know, degree which it could have gone to, but it seems to kind of veer away from. which you can kind of understand, right? Because there was so much tragedy and Kevin's still alive, right? So there's so much stuff, and you just think, yeah, I imagine you know, because it was so great, you want to be kind of sensitive around it all, but yeah, you just want that little bit more. That little bit more would have really elevated this film to that next level. I enjoyed it, but I just thought it could have, you know, because you have the rest. Remember the wrestler Mickey Rourke? Boy, oh my God, how crazy was that, right? Emotionally, this doesn't quite get there. You know, it skirts close at times, you know, close at times, but doesn't quite get there. But it is great seeing a lot of the things that you've heard about, but, you know, never saw. You know, I did think that Ric Flair, Harley Race, they did, they were close. They were close. Rick doesn't sound, you know, didn't sound anything, you know, but look wise, it was pretty close. They did a great job visually with the film, and the fight choreography was good too. That they sold you very well on all of that. So it's a good watch. You just wanted it just to be that little bit more. But yeah, if you're a fan of, you know, films like The Wrestler, Rocky, you know what I mean, The Fighter, just all of those things, you know, if you're a fan of if you grew up watching wrestling in the 80s, early 90s like me, you're gonna find this fascinating. You will do. So it's, you know, I know you US cats have already seen it, but it's dropping, I think it's the 9th of February, right? So that's when us on this side of the pond get to watch this crazy story of the Von Erichs. So people, go check out The Iron Claw. Though The Iron Claw is a goofy ass wrestling move. One of the goofiest, man. Like, what is that? But yeah, The Iron Claw, people.